Ram Hare Krishna.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so Shravanam Kirtanam is over now. Smaranam. Canto 7, chapter 5, verse 23-24. After one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam is recommended. Now, this is very, very important actually to understand. So, let me read from one second. Okay, I'm going to read from Hari Bhakti, Harinam Chintamani. One second. Yeah. Okay. So, Shravana, so there are 5 stages. Shravana Dasha, Varana Dasha, Smarana Dasha, Apana Dasha, and Sampatti Dasha. Okay. First is Shravana Dasha, the stage of hearing. Hearing the pastimes of Krishna, one develops an attraction for them. One then approaches a guru who has realized Krishna's eternal pastimes and the 11 items in eternal service. Okay, we don't worry about this for now. From the guru, the devotee hears the intricacies of rasas, bhava tattva, which consists of the pastimes and the 11 items of identity. On hearing the eightfold pastimes, the person will develop eagerness and inquire from the guru how to enter into those pastimes. Now, uh, okay, mm, we'll park this topic, but here the main thing is first is there is hearing, so there is Shravana. Okay, then there are other intricacies which I will not get into right now. Second is Varana Dasha, stage of acceptance. So first is Shravana. So we hear about Krishna. And then second is acceptance. The guru, after perceiving the nature of the person, will then describe to him the 11 elements of his identity. He will give him his name, form, qualities, and service, and his part in the pastimes, and tell him to enter into the pastimes. If the disciple finds that his natural taste coincides with this identity, he should approach the guru and inform him that it suits him. He will then vow to cultivate that identity as his life and soul. Okay. Um, so Shravana, Varana. Then the important thing is Smarana. Now, this is what I wanted to share. Uh, where is that? Hmm, I don't know, maybe it's in another section. Okay, anyway, so I think the point I wanted to make was just wanted to read from it if uh, uh, yeah. Okay, I'm not getting what I was looking for. Oh, okay. So anyway, so we'll go back to our text in hand. So I'll explain what I was wanting to share from that. The process of chanting. So in the process of chanting, there are different stages. Okay, the first stage and the most important stage, and which possibly is long, it takes up many years of our sadhana, is the process of Shravana, right? Which means chanting is going on. Chanting will always keep going on, right? So Kirtana, taking the names of the holy names of the Lord, will keep going on forever, but the internal state keeps changing. So the first stage is we do Shravana. So we hear the holy name, okay, and then when the concentration on the holy name uh, is very good, and we are not getting distracted, we are not doing the we are avoiding the 10 aparadas, etc. And then parallelly we are also doing Shravana of Krishna's Rupa, Guna, Leela, etc. Now what happens is, at one point of time, when this Shravana has become very intense, and this we've got attracted to Krishna, when we start chanting Krishna's name, when we say Hare Krishna, immediately our mind naturally gets dragged into the other things that we have been hearing about Krishna. And this process is called Smaranam. So we start remembering Krishna by just taking his name. So first is we take the name, no remembrance comes, all kinds of material thoughts are coming to our mind. We're not even hearing properly. Like last few days I think His Grace Burijan Prabhu was giving a class on chanting. Right. So the first is to dutifully determine in a determined way, bring our mind back from wherever it is wandering to focus on hearing. Then as this process progresses and we're making advancement, which means that our heart is becoming clean, our attachment to material things are decreasing, and then our Shravanam hearing about Lord Krishna increases. Then at some point of time, when the chanting is extremely, actually in Harinam Chintamani, um, Haridas Thakur is saying that, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that when the chanting becomes so smooth that we are just like engrossed in the hearing process, then automatically we enter into the Smaranam process, wherein we suddenly remember as soon as we take the name of Krishna, Hare, then we just get connected to his form, his pastimes, his qualities, etc. automatically, and then the remembrance starts. So this is the next stage of bhakti, and then we have to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that smaranam, and it has to be a natural process, right? But to be able to get there, we have to be doing Shravanam very, very properly, perfectly. Okay, and that is why in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's language, japa is called Nama Smaranam, and Kirtan is called Nama Kirtan. So he actually calls the japa process Smaranam because that's where we have to get to very quickly, right? But for that, inattentive, we have to avoid this inattentive chanting. So we have to chant attentively, hearing the holy name. Which is why some devotees, like I've told this before, some devotees sit in front of the deities and chant. But the idea is to actually focus on Shravanam and look at the deities when actually our mind is getting distracted, or our photo, right? Because first stage is the hearing process. And then gradually, because we are so attracted to the deity, and then we are looking at the deity becomes fixed in our mind. So as soon as we then start chanting, immediately the form of the deity or whatever attracts us, right? Some pastimes, some qualities of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, form of Krishna. When I say Krishna, it's the Yugala Kishore, that couple, right? Um, so these things will automatically come in. And that stage is called Smarana. Smarana Dasha. So for us, the chanting is the process for Smarana. Meaning we are not expected to sit simply and start thinking about Krishna. We are expected to chant and parallelly remember Krishna, which is the reason why we see that exalted devotees, they're chanting all the time, and we keep thinking, oh, aren't they doing nama parad? No, because whatever they're just for showing the setting an example, they do their prescribed rounds, uh, you know yeah, non-distracted, or uh, yeah, privately, so to speak, right? And they are done, and then the whole day the chanting bag is fixed in their hand, and as they're chanting, now they are actually constantly remembering Krishna. And that is the process which is given to practice smaranam. And this smaranam has to become so intense that when it's time for us to leave our body and it's painful, still that smaranam doesn't break. But what smaranam will you do if you have not done Shravanam? And that is the reason why reading, hearing is so important, because otherwise you don't know anything about Krishna. So what are you going to remember about him? Hmm? Uh, so this is very, very important. So which is why, but first Prabhupada is writing here, after one regularly performs, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed. So what is the signal that this will happen is that when the heart is cleansed. What do you mean heart is cleansed? Meaning we don't have any material desires. We're not attracted materially. So heart is cleansed, then the otherwise the smaranam is on material things. Now that stops, and then smaranam about Krishna starts. Okay, so this is very, very important for us to note. And we have to see ourselves making progress to this stage. Srimad Bhagavatam Shukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bhayam yoginam drupa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. O king, for great yogis who have completely renounced all material connections, for those who desire all material enjoyment, and for those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge, constant chanting of the holy name is recommended. This is very similar to the Rakama Sarvakamo Va, where it is saying, do intense devotional service. This verse is saying, Harer Namanu Kirtanam. So constant chanting, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas, is recommended. Constant. So we do, which is why the initiation vow is not 16 rounds; it's minimum 16 rounds. According to different relationships with the Supreme Person of Godhead, there are varieties of Namanu Kirtanam. See, chanting of the holy name, and thus according to different relationships and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. So very important. These are as follows: conduct research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord, concentrating the mind on the subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, willing from all other subjects, concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord, concentrating one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord. So this is the dhyana process. and awakening a liking for concentration upon a particular form. Okay. So there is, it's all for to us sounds like concentrating, but this is actually dhyana, this is dharana, this is dharana, this is dhyana, this is samadhi. So these are stages. So which is why I said like we have to go deep into the smaranam process, which is the also explained in the Ashtanga yoga process, right? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. This is like anartha nivrutti. Then dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Yeah, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So then we have to go into these higher stages. And samadhi is constant and likening for concentration. There's a attraction also. In dharana is just meditation. You come into meditation, then we go off like that. Dhyana is more continuous. And in samadhi, it's fully continuous and there's also like a taste. So much attraction that we just forget ourselves. Mental concentration upon particular pastimes of the Lord in particular circumstances is also called remembrance. Therefore, samadhi trance can be possible in 5 different ways in terms of one's relationship, meaning we think about Krishna in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, etc. Specifically, the trance of devotees on the stage of neutrality, Shanta, is called mental concentration, which is dharana. Because they are actually meditating on the Brahman form. But the same dhyana is also applicable based on our rasa, what we are getting attracted to, which mellow we are attracted to. So it's clear that to be able to do proper smaranam, we should have done proper shravanam, and we should have been sufficiently attracted by a certain form of the Lord, by a certain relationship with the Lord. Then smaranam can be performed, and smaranam is important. When we say shravanam kirtanam is the basic process, shravanam kirtanam has to take us to smaranam. Not that it is devoid of smaranam. Not that, oh, no, it's only Shravanam Kirtanam. So if there is remembrance of the Lord coming, no, that's not approved. I'll stop it. No. Eventually we have to get there. Any questions on this? Because this might be something new. Not everybody might have heard of this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the yesterday's class, Prabhupada was telling that we have to hear the chanting of a other pure devotee, right?
Yeah.
I think somewhere. So is the importance to chant the mantra is also, so we chant our own mantra.
Oh, yeah.
Mantra.
Yeah. We should chant our mantra.
Yeah. So like when we say that we should hear the chanting of the pure devotees, how to do that? Like when we hear the Prabhupada's chanting, that is more recommended, that we should also hear Prabhupada's chanting in addition to what we chant so that we remember Krishna more.
Not that we remember Krishna more. So see, what will happen is that is the reason why we are expected to chant in the association of pure devotees. Meaning morning program is the process wherein you are chanting with other devotees who are all expected to be, similar minded, which means that if you are targeting pure devotion, then you should also associate with those devotees who are practicing pure devotion, and then which means that they're hearing their chanting also in association is going to be powerful, right? Also, it is also good to hear Prabhupada's chanting, but it's not that we become inert, as in we just let Prabhupada's chanting go on and we just sit and become an audience. Not like that. Because the idea is why we are actually, see, the process of, like I said again, the process of chanting is going to go on forever. And it has to happen at all times. So it can't be that we are, always carrying Prabhupada's tune along with us. Right? So The process of hearing along with Srila Prabhupada is because our minds might be a lot more distracted initially. Chanting in association of Srila Prabhupada can be very, very powerful, right? Because then it actually purifies our mind faster than our own chanting because we are not hearing at all, right? But eventually, all this will end, as in, we will get into smaranam, right? When actually Shravanam goes to the background. It's there, but it's in the background. Smaranam comes to the forefront. And when Smaranam is disturbed, we become distracted, we focus on Shravanam again. So that again we go back into Smaranam. Mm. So, and
Yeah.
chanting in association of pure devotees is always beneficial because every nama coming out of their lotus mouth can just enter deep into our heart and remove that, kachada which is stuck somewhere, right, which is not coming out. But eventually we have to fly our own plane, right? We have to do our chanting, we have to do our hearing, we have to do our smaranam, remembrance. Okay, anything else? All okay? Okay.
Yes, Rohit.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, one more question
Mm.
regarding this. So, it is mentioned recommended that we should have a special relationship with the Lord
Mm.
by understanding what is the pastime of the Lord, and then special relationship. So, how to build this special relationship? So, with Krishna, we know that uh, we have to basically get attracted to Vrindavan mode, which means not in the
Mm.
Aishwarya Bhav, right? So,
Mm.
is it also recommended to uh, have similar kind of relationship with other avatars if somebody is
Oh,
attracted to Lord Rama or like this?
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, first thing, we are not expected to get attracted to anything or anyone or any rasa. We're not, as in, it's not a vidhi, it's not a ritual, it's not a practice, it's not a rule, right? We're not doing this like, okay, getting up in the morning and chanting. It's not like that, right? It's a process of getting naturally attracted, that our heart gets attracted to something in connection with Krishna. Now, our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is very, very, what can you say? Hmm, what is the word? Like, I'm not getting the word. Like, he even says that, just get attracted to Krishna, Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. As in, don't even look at other forms. So, but it has to be a natural process. Like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, we know when he was present here, then Murari Gupta was there, who was a devotee of Lord Rama. Then so on, right? So the idea is that our heart has to beat faster, to bring a material parallel. Mm. When a boy and girl who are in love with each other, when the boy sees the girl or the girl sees the boy, their heart beats faster. So our heart has to beat faster first to a particular, you know, in connection with a particular form of the Lord first, right? And it all happens together, but I'm just saying that first the form gets fixed in our heart, then the pastime or the rasa gets fixed. And it could be together also. It could be, in one sense, if somebody is a devotee of Rama, then hearing Krishna's pastimes is more like extra information. Because it's not going to much appeal to his heart. He might respect it, saying that yes, okay, is the Supreme Lord himself. But my heart is the T-shirt, right? I lost my heart in Vrindavan. Literally, we have to lose our heart to the Lord. And sometimes, like for example, for me in my case, before I came into Krishna consciousness, I had actually lost my heart to Balaji. But But with an open mind, when I started reading Prabhupada's books and Bhagavatam, etc., then naturally my heart started getting attracted to Krishna, right? And that to the you know three-bended form, right? Not even Jagannath, who is actually non-different, but so that attraction has to become natural, and it'll happen only by hearing. And the more we hear from pure devotees, the effect is going to be so much more, which is the
Yeah.
reason I keep saying read Prabhupada's books again and again and again and again and again. That's what is going to make it happen. It's going to clean the heart. It's going to develop, suddenly we will develop some attraction towards, towards the form of the Lord, towards the rasa of the Lord, etc. And it is a natural process. Like I'm saying, our heart has to beat faster. When we suddenly, think about a particular form of the Lord or a particular rasa, we should just feel like exhilarated, like, wow, I mean, when can I get there? That kind of urge has to, greed has to develop. Then we change gears at that time. Then we can possibly enter Raganuga Bhakti. But that greed has to start. I absolutely want this. And that whole thing is dependent on Shravanam.
Yes, Roji. Clear. Proji, one more thing regarding this Smaranam, right? So,
Mm,
what is apparently what Prabhupada is saying here is that when we do perfection of chanting and
mm,
Shravanam, only then the real Smaranam comes, right? So, basically, during the time when our chanting is not perfected, when, as you said, that the material thoughts also come into our minds,
mm.
then the Smaranam which comes to the of the Lord, it is not complete Smarana. It is like just a
No, no, no,
Pratibimba.
no.
Is it?
No, 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 no. See, any Smaranam of the Lord which is natural, it's good. But it has to be natural. It has to be natural in the sense that, that which is why the heart has to be attracted to Krishna. Then this remembrance of Krishna becomes automatic, right? So any smaranam is spiritual, is transcendental, right? As in, of course, we're not on the transcendental platform, but it's good, it's beneficial, right? Which shows that our heart is getting cleansed, going in the right direction, etc. So, but parallelly alongside, we might have all these material things, and then it'll be like material things is 95% of what is coming into our mind, and 5% is the Lord. But then what we have to do is that point of time we have to make sure that we increase the intensity of Shravanam, not the Smaranam of the Lord, because that's going to become artificial. Because that means that the heart is not cleansed yet. Smaranam also can cleanse, but it's more powerful because uh, okay, how do I put it? See, the Shravanam process is universal in the sense it can be done anywhere, and it doesn't require such a purity of the mind to be able to do. Right? But Smaranam requires lot more purity of the mind. And when the mind is impure, trying to increase Smaranam of the Lord will possibly not work. We will fail. Though remembrance of the Lord is itself perfectly pure. Which is why it is recommended for us saying that we have to do Shravanam. It's more easier, it can be done anywhere. And it's a simple process of just trying to hear. Right? So
Yeah.
even when that is happening, it's not that we ignore or we just write off that Smaranam of the Lord that's happening. It's a good indication. It shows that, okay, we're getting somewhere. It's not 100% is not material. But our effort at that point of time should be to increase the intensity of our Shravanam, to make it more concentrated, to reduce distractions. And so, like yesterday, Burijan Prabhu was saying, wherever mind goes, we should be determined to pull it back and fix it again in the Shravanam process.
Yeah. And is there any relative importance of Shravanam more than chanting, Prabhuji? Like without
Kirtanam, you're
proper
saying.
Kirtanam and also Japa, both
No, no,
come, I think.
Japa is the process, right? See, when we say, um, when you say Nama Sankirtanam, which is in association with other devotees. Now, we don't get to do this often, right? But when you get to do that often, and especially if you're getting the association of pure devotees, I see devotees sitting in Kirtan and also doing their japa, which is totally wrong, right? Which is not correct, right? So, what we should do is whenever we get an opportunity to chant in the association of pure devotees, as in to do Kirtan in the association of pure devotees, we should do that because we don't get that too often, and that actually can be like a very powerful upsurge, like it can be a current, electric current which goes through us, right? Which is why actually in our center, before every program, we actually before, like morning English class, we have 15 minutes kirtan. Before Kannada class, we will have 20 minutes kirtan. Before Hindi class, anyway, we have aarti. The idea is that actually just engaging in this kirtan is powerful because so many Vaishnavas are there, right? And if there are pure devotees in the gathering and they are, that can be very, very powerful. It can have a very powerful influence in making our chanting better. Now, this is where the key is, right? Unfortunately, devotees are very much attracted to kirtan, but their chanting is not improving, which means that they are not attracted to the nama in the kirtan. They are attracted to the raga in the kirtan. And that's one of the reasons why Prabhupada kept the tunes simple. So most of the times, even in our centers, it's not a single tune. Some temples just do single tunes, right? Which is even amazing. But just because new people, etc., but we have a handful of 3 or 4 tunes. That's it, and which also is sung repeatedly so that people get the tune. So they know the tune. They now don't have to focus on the tune and the difficulty of the tune and all that. So then their mind gets fixed on the nama and going deeper into the nama. That's what kirtanam needs to do, right? Anyway, that kirtana should result in improving the quality of our japa.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, we can do maybe Pada Sevanam. Okay, number 4, Pada Sevanam. According to one's taste and strength. Taste and strength. Strength in Krishna consciousness. Hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed by Pada Sevan, which is. Okay, let's see what Prabhupada is saying. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is called Pada Sevana. So this is okay. Okay, here is describing it slightly differently. One is particularly adherent to the process of Pada Sevanam. This process gradually includes other processes such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or temple of the Lord, visiting such places as Jagannath, Puri, Dwarka, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, bathing in the Ganges or Yamuna. So the Pancharatri ki vidhi, right? So this is like where the Bhagavata vidhi is merging or connecting with the Pancharatri ki vidhi. Bathing in the Ganges and serving a pure Vaishnava are also known as Tadiya Upasanam. This is also Pada Sevanam. So Pada Sevanam doesn't mean just thinking, it's also serving. And it's not just thinking and serving about the lotus feet of Krishna, but it's also thinking and serving about serving the lotus feet of pure Vaishnavas like Ganga, Yamuna, and also present Vaishnavas, apart from Acharyas, etc. The word Tadiya means in relationship with the Lord. Service to the Vaishnava, Tulasi, Ganges, Yamuna are also are included in Pada Sevanam. All these processes help one advance in spiritual life very quickly. Right? So remembering, one obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. This is why the whole process of seeing the Lord, right, starts from the lotus feet. So we should be intensely attached to thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, again, it's not that these things have to be done in any order or anything like that, but it'll be good if it can be done this way. It'll be effective. Um, um, and another thing, it's my realization. I've not heard of this anywhere, but thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is possibly much easier than thinking of the Lord's lotus face. Okay, so I don't know if it's an experience that everybody has had. Those who try to remember the Lord's form, it's much easier. I mean, as soon as you can just instantly think about the lotus feet of the Lord. And when we're talking about lotus feet of the Lord, it's the lotus feet of the your Ishtadeva, that of the form of the Lord that attracts you. So, for example, for me, it's Radha Madhav. So, instantly I can remember. Of course, Radharani doesn't show her lotus feet. Instantly, I can think about the lotus feet of Madhav. Okay, but now if I have to think about the lotus face of Madhav, it's little difficult because he's person and he has expressions and he has a smile and he has alankara on his face, and sometimes he's smiling, sometimes he's not so smiling. I mean, his face, the feelings are there, different emotions are expressed at different times, and so many things that it becomes little difficult to focus on something. So lotus feet is relatively much easier, right? So thinking of the Lord's lotus feet can also become part of remembrance. That's why one obtains perfection of remembering when he can simply constantly think of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this moves into that smaranam of the Lord's form. Here, that's what Prabhupada is saying, is now being called Padasevanam. But Padasevanam also means Sevanam, also like service. And similarly, lotus feet of spiritual master, lotus feet of great Vaishnavas, remembering the form of Yamuna, Ganga, etc. They're also included in this. So it's still extension of remembrance, right? So Smaranam, Shavanam, Kirtanam, then Smaranam, then Padasevanam also, the way Prabhupada has written this purport, is Smaranam of the lotus feet. So these things we have to, which is why, see, we have to read Prabhupada's purport. If suppose say we miss this purport, thinking, oh, I know the Navavidha Bhakti, then we would have lost, like a treasure of information of what we need to do, how we need to make progress. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you said that even Ganga, because Ganga touches the water, touches the toe of
Yeah.
Vamana Dev. So even bathing in Ganga and thinking of Ganga is as good as
No.
thinking of the
Okay,
Lord. Is
so
it not?
okay, yeah. So it's a good question. Actually, Ganga elsewhere is just removes sins. Okay, but Ganga in Mayapur, Navadvip, gives Krishna Prema, Chaitanya Prema. So
Hmm.
for us, when we think about Ganga, it's about bathing in Ganga in Navadvip.
Okay, not elsewhere.
For, I mean, we can bathe, but then it is the effect of Ganga there is just removing sins.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, it depends on our mood, what we want, etc. Right? So if our goal is Krishna Prema, then we know that we can't achieve Krishna Prema without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And hence, bathing in the Ganga in Navadvip will bring us to that attraction to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or submission to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, and thereby giving us Krishna Prema in course of time. Which is why Navadvip is so powerful, right? Because if you go to Yamuna in then directly Vrindavan, etc., you should already have been attracted sufficiently. Then of course it will make tremendous. Of course, Yamuna has she is powerful enough, right? But when we bathe extra audarya, right, the extra mercy is in bathing in Ganga in Navadvip.
Hmm. And bathing in Yamuna in Vrindavana, is that also recommended, Prabhuji, for
Of
devotees?
course. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Remembering the form of Yamuna, remembering the flow of Yamuna, remembering the pastimes the Lord does in Yamuna, bathing in Yamuna, with that mood, saying that Krishna has touched these waters, Krishna has played in these waters. It's liquid prema. Yamuna is liquid
Yeah.
prema. But we have to not with the see, unfortunately, this is what happens. Devotees are so excited when they see water, they just jump and frolic, and that is for pure devotees who actually do that not for sense gratification, but with the feeling of how Krishna, enjoys in Yamuna. Right, but for us, we have to be really prayerful. We enter before entering the waters, then we pray saying that I'm really not qualified. I'm bringing, this my horrible body into your in touch with your waters, and I'm not qualified, and you're so merciful. And if we know Yamuna prayers to Yamuna Devi, then we offer prayers and beg for mercy, and very prayerfully enter her waters. And then actually we should also remember saying that the color of Yamuna is actually the color of Krishna, right? We
Hmm.
can't see today, but and yeah, that water that is touching us is actually is full of prema, and Krishna's most happiest pastimes happen in Yamuna, Radha Kund. So we have to remember these things, and in that mood, we have to begging for mercy, for purification, for cleansing our heart, for removing material attachments, for giving Krishna prema. In that mood, we should bathe in Yamuna as well. It's very powerful. I don't know some things. Few years back, it was just after Corona, I think. Mm, few devotees from our temple, like 3, 4 devotees only. Obviously everybody was like still afraid to travel, etc. Or maybe it was just before Corona. I can't remember. The 4, 5 devotees we had gone. We went to Vrindavan, and mm, and our Maharaj in ISKCON Govardhan. Um, and such a I can't remember. Yeah, what the name of Maharaj? It's not coming to my head. So he was so merciful that actually he took us to one place where Yamuna was very very like you could go neck deep without any issues, and very nice waters, and no not many people, etc. And I remember, I mean, I'm saying after that, after taking that bath, definitely something happened, something changed. But we have to do really, I mean, which is why people say, okay, Radha Kund, we are going to, but Radha Kund is the topmost place in the universe, which we are not even seeing, right? So better in our fallen consciousness, better sprinkle 3 drops of Radha Kund water on our heads, which is equivalent to taking bath in Radha Kund, and pray that we become qualified at one day to actually enter her waters. But Yamuna is more accessible that way for us. More accessible than Radha Kund, and she's extremely merciful. Mm, right. And yeah, actually, each of these activities, which is why, whatever we hear, it depends on each of us, right? Whatever mood is, what consciousness we are doing, what, any of these things can have a significant impact in altering our consciousness, in taking us closer to Krishna, provided we do it, in the right mood. Which is why every statement that Prabhupada has written is absolutely 100% true, but doesn't work for everybody. It just that because it didn't work for me, it's not that I start disbelieving the statement or the fact. It's just it's personal, right? I mean, it depends on. For example, if I go and take bath in Ganga elsewhere, maybe maybe I'll not even go and take bath. Maybe I'll just take 3 drops of water and sprinkle. But if it is Ganga in Navadvip, then I'll go because I want that. I want what mercy she can give me. Right. So like that, it depends on our mood, and all of this is again based on is completely dependent on our consciousness, which depends on the quality of our reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Right. But everything and anything can that Prabhupada is writing can be equally powerful.
Yes, Rajiv. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Anyway, we are already. So we'll do Archanam tomorrow maybe. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody? Yep. So please read this purport again, at your leisure. And I mean, I'm obviously trying to explain as much as I can understand. But it's a very, very deep purport. It's a very deep purport. One of those, few gem like purports, as in the whole purport is like gem, full of gems, right? So, and many of it we wouldn't have registered. We wouldn't have registered in all these years of Krishna consciousness because we are just, like we are swimming in the surface, right? And uh, we can't actually have access to the the precious stones that are there deep down in the ocean, right? But once when we have entered a little bit deeper into the water, and then when we come across these purports, it can be significant. It can have a significant impact on us. So again, what each of us will get out of the purport by our own reading will also be different and important because it will give us exactly what we need at the stage of our consciousness. Now, what I'm explaining is possibly general, may not appeal to everybody based on our purity, our stage of devotion, etc. But when you read the same purport, you will possibly get latched on to something which is more relevant to you at your stage than maybe other things. So which is the reason why Prabhupada purports are. It's a personal, direct conversation that Prabhupada is having with each of us, right? And he knows what to stress to which devotee. So it's the same purport, but it looks like he's stressing something to one person and stressing something else to some other person. It's like that. It's as spiritual as anything else, right? So it's dynamic. Prabhupada used to say, all these is dynamic. It's not static. Krishna consciousness dynamic. Prabhupada's purports are also dynamic. So please read. Please get attached to reading Prabhupada. That's the only way we can go back. If we want to take the shortcut of just simply hearing, which is why I keep saying, these morning classes are not a class. It's for you to understand and appreciate the depth of Prabhupada's purports and then develop attachment to reading those. And I feel very unfortunate, especially for Kannada speaking devotees, because they will not be able to realize all this from Kannada purports, which are like horrible, unfortunately. Right. So, yeah, but at least for the English speaking folks, you're very, very fortunate. Read these purports. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. Then we'll close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarupishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Samveda Gaura Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.